All right, WayneAllynRoot here now. Welcome back to the show. Great economic news, by the way. Great economic news. I'll get to, after my interview coming up in a sec, I'll get to the fact that Jerry Brown has passed the fact that it's against the law in California to shower and do laundry on the same day. You laugh when you hear that. It's not a joke. It's not a parody. And then great news with GDP forecast to be 4.8% in the second quarter. Great job, MAGA. President Trump doing a wonderful job. We've got our guest here who is a fan of President Trump, was on the phone with President Trump today. The man who's turned around the entire American economy, and the liberals are apoplectic. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. Every 5 minutes, Nancy Pelosi says, jobs don't matter. Jobs don't matter. Jobs don't matter to the middle class. They've lost their freaking minds. Danny Tarkanian's with us, GOP candidate for Congress, CD3, District 3 in Nevada. He will be my United States Congressman. His website, DannyTarkanian.com, DannyTarkanian.com. Danny, welcome to the show.
Wayne, thank you for having me on, but I'll tell you, I didn't hear that GDP number until just now. Are you kidding me? He almost hit 5%.
Yeah, now, keep in mind, let's not misquote. It's not that they hit it. That's what they're projecting, the Fed, for this quarter number 2 that just ended. In other words, quarter 2 would be April, May. Oh, it's almost going to end. April, May, June. Let's see, January, February, March, quarter 1. So April, May, June is quarter 2. So they think this quarter, when it ends, they predict the Atlanta Fed, which is always very close to the final number, and they get it on the money. They predict 4.8%, which would mean Trump has really turned this into the Reagan economy. Be wild. Be fantastic.
Well, you look at the average under Obama for all of his 8 years was 1.6%. He almost tripled them.
Yeah, right. And actually, I think you're giving him too much credit. If I'm not mistaken, because I quote this all the time, I think it's 1.3. It's even worse than 1.6. I'm pretty sure it's 1.3. And do you know what 1.3 matches? The exact same GDP average for the entire 1930s Great Depression was 1.3. Obama averaged it for 8 years. Same amount. So whatever the number is, if you're right, it's 1.6. If I'm right, it's 1.3. Whatever the number is, it was the exact same amount, exactly as the Great Depression. So that's how bad things were. But Obama hit it by spending $10 trillion in government money to prop up the economy and make it seem like everything was okay. But we owe that $10 trillion now. That's the problem.
Yeah.
All right. So Danny Tarkanian, tell me about your run for United States Congress. Primaries coming up in just about a week or so. Where do things stand?
Well, the primary is going real well. We're getting a lot of support from the voters here. I think we're going to do very, very well when the results come out on Tuesday. President Trump came out and endorsed the campaign. He's said how important this congressional District 3 seat is to hold it for the to hold the Republican control of Congress. And he asked me personally to run in this race, and I plan on winning and being a big supporter of President Trump's America First policies. The difference between me and all these other people running for office now on the Republican side is when everybody was running away from Trump in the last election because of those comments that came on the Billy Bush tape, I supported candidate Trump and never wavered from him. Now that they see what's happening with the economy and that the unemployment rate and what's happening overseas with our foreign policy, all of the Republicans are running and saying they support him. But really, there was only a few of us out there in the last election that had the courage to do it when the going got tough.
All right, so you were on the phone today, I understand, with President Donald Trump. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, he had a conference with a number of people across the country to talk about his 500-day achievements and everything. So, yeah, it was good to hear from him, and we've been reading about all the stuff he's doing, and we're feeling it everywhere you go in the economy. You see people; they're more happy, they feel more confident. Consumer confidence is one of the highest levels in 2 decades.
And you have officially been endorsed by President Trump at this point. Is that correct?
Yeah, President Trump asked me personally to run in this race, and he said how important the Congressional District 3 seat was. I think when the president asked you personally to run in a race, I think you'd call that an endorsement. So, yes, I was.
And the result of that is that you are winning by leaps and bounds with fundraising over all your other opponents. Tell us where the numbers come in.
Well, we did real well fundraising from what they call the pre-primary report, which is basically the last 7 weeks. We raised about $125,000. My opponents, they were way in the low teens. But the big thing is I got to stay close to the Democrat nominee, and the Democrats are raising a ton of money for her. They got her last report. She had 7 maximum contributions from different labor unions around the country. Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi had both maxed out to her in the primary and the general. So she reported 200,000. We're not too far behind, but we have to stay with her. It's unfortunate that this is what American politics has come to. It's a race for how much money you're going to raise, but that's what it takes to win.
Yeah, but if I was you, I mean, I would just make this entire race that your opponent, you said was maxed out by Pelosi. You said that, right? By Nancy Pelosi?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I would make the whole race about that. That Nancy Pelosi actually argued in favor of MS-13. Treat them nice and respect murderers and scum and rapists and heroin dealers. And now has come out and said, jobs aren't important to middle class people. Who cares that Trump has jobs? It means nothing to the middle class. If that's who endorsed, your opponent when you win the primary, we're all assuming you'll win and that will be your opponent. I think you just run Nancy Pelosi 24 hours a day. That's who you're running against, Danny. That's a great message.
You know what? We're going to run her probably 12 hours a day and run America First accomplishments the other 12 hours.
Right.
You can't ignore all the wonderful things that's happening under President Trump right now with his America First policies.
Correct. And that's the problem with Democrats. I'd love to ask your future opponent, you mean you don't like 4.8% GDP? You don't like lowest black unemployment history? You don't like lowest Hispanic unemployment history? You don't like stock market going straight up and real estate going straight up? Really?
She says, President Trump is so bad to women and this and that. The unemployment rate for women is the lowest it's been in 55 years. 55 years.
Right. Amazing. Just amazing stuff. Look, Trump has done a great job, and I think a red wave is coming, Danny. You decided to run at a bad time, and it's turning into a good time. In other words, that's the guts. That's why I respect Danny Tarkanian. That's your guts, because at the moment you decided to run, you were looking at a blue wave. At least that's what the media claimed and liberals claim, and most conservative Republicans are running for their lives and retiring. And you got really, really brave and decided to run, and then it all turned the other way, and now you're running into what looks like might very well be a red wave. And I'm the only guy in the country who's been saying this for weeks. We're headed for a Republican landslide. Sure enough, who said it today? Newt Gingrich. Newt Gingrich said, it looks to me it's a lot closer to a red wave than a blue wave. So for the first time, someone impressive and credible is agreeing with me, because I'm just a numbers wonk. And I stare at the numbers, and I'm telling you that we're going to win like anywhere between 4 and 7 Senate seats. So let's say an average of 3 or 4 new Senate seats.
I've agreed with you completely, and this is what it comes down to. You listen to liberal media and many of the political pundits, they say, President Trump has said these things that some people may find offensive, and therefore they're not going to vote for him. I've always believed that when people go to the polls in November, they're going to vote on how well the economy's doing, their paycheck, whether they have a job, whether they're getting a raise, and the stock market, and our national security. And President Trump's America First policies is a winner in all those regards. So I never was worried about a blue wave. I always would have a red wave.
All right, very cool. Tell everybody where they can, what website they can go to help contribute and to help volunteer and to work hard to elect our next United States Congressman, Danny Tarkanian. Where can they go?
My first and last name.com. So it's DannyTarkanian.com. So that's my website.
DannyTarkanian.com. He's a great guy. I consider him a very good friend. And I'm all in for Danny Tarkanian. I don't do that for very many candidates. It's not a good idea for a host to actually endorse people, but I have endorsed you. That's how highly I think of you. And I've been fighting for you, as you know, from the very beginning. And I think you're our next United States Congressman. So go get him, Danny.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate everything you've done, Wayne. I even had you as part of my Mount Rushmore flyer that I sent out as the stalwart GOPs and people here in Nevada.
I didn't even know that. Good. I got to go find it now.
I'll get you a copy of it.
Send me a copy. I want to see it, for God's sakes. All right, good. DannyTarkanian.com. Danny, thanks for coming on today. Really appreciate it. And next Tuesday, God bless, man, make sure that on Wednesday morning, you and I are on the phone, and we'll talk about how to get you elected United States Congressman CD3. So you're my congressman. All right, Danny?
Oh, sure. We never take anything for granted, so please get out and vote. I certainly could use your support in the primary. June 12th is the final day.
Next Tuesday, June 12th, and you can vote early voting right now as we speak. And we got to elect Danny Tarkanian. We got to get a great Congress for President Trump. Thank you, Danny. God bless, buddy.